Hi all, welcome to the channel. Hope you are all doing well. So today's problem is compare number versions, which is the day 9 of the September LeetCode challenge. Let's look into the problem. Okay, so the problem is compare version numbers. So basically they have given two strings, version 1 and version 2, and this is typically in the version number format, that is 1.0.0 something like that, or 1.2.1 point something. So it can have n number of levels, and so if I have 0.1, it means the first version of 0th level, right? So this is 0 is the major version, and anything after the point is the minor version, and it can have more minor versions. So we have to find out which version is the greatest. So if version 1 is greater than version 2, then we have to return 1, and if version 1 is less than version 2, we have to return -1, otherwise we have to return 0 if both are equal. So the different cases that can be is version 1 is greater than version 2, right? That is one case. So for that, version 1 can be 1.0.1 and version 2 can be only 1, right? In that case, version 1 is greater than 2, or it can be 1.1, just 1.1. However, if it is 1.0.0, then it is same as 1, right? In that case, it should return 0. I think that is one of the example here. 1.0 is same as 100. In that case, it should return 0, right? So even though in LeetCode it's mentioned as a medium level problem, but I think it's a easy level problem. However, having said that, in interview, normally when you think how to solve this, right, the straightaway approach that comes to mind is we can split by dot, and then we'll have a array, and then we can just pass it as int and check whether each of the tokens, in Java you have string tokenizer, right? So you can use string tokenizer, or you can simply use the split method of string, and you can check whether each of the corresponding index for version 1 and version 2 is greater or not. As soon as you find a difference, you can return +1 if version 1 is greater, or -1 if version 2 is greater. Else at the end you can straight away return 0. However, the interviewer may ask to do this in O of 1 space, because when you split, you are consuming space, right? So let's see how we can do that in O of 1 space. And in terms of time complexity, I don't think we can reduce the time complexity, because we have to go through all the characters in the string. So the time complexity in any of the cases will be O of n. So let's see how we can do that, right? So I'm using Java here, but in Java, Python or C++, the logic will be same, right? So I'm defining length 1 equal to version 1 dot length, and in length 2 equal to version 2 dot length. Once I have the length, I can go over in a loop while let's say here int I is equal to 0 and int j equal to 0. I and j is for version 1 and 2, and while I is less than length 1, or j is less than length 2. So we have to do the loop till I and j is less than length 1 and length 2, right? So what we'll check here first is so first we have to find out right, what is the number part, right? So for example, if my string is 1 point or let's say 123.0.1 point something, right? So first 123 is the integer part, right? So what I'll do is I'll loop through the version, and until I get a dot, I'll add that into int number. So basically this is same as doing for each number from left to right that you are getting, you multiply it by 10 and then add the next number, right? So that way you will get 1 2 3 number, right? It's similar to how you form a number given one number at a time from left to right, right? So you just multiply it by 10 and then add the next number to it, so you'll get the number. So we'll use the same logic here. So to store the temporary number for version 1, right, version 1 equal to 0. So while version 1 dot caret I is not equal to dot. Till that point I'll do this, right? Version 1 into 10 plus version 1 dot caret I of this minus I can do 0. So this will give me the ASCII value and it will convert it into int. Okay, so this way I can get the version 1, the first part of the version for the version 1, right? Similarly, I can do this for my second version, right? Now here in the first part, right, what if the last part of the string, right? So I have to take care that my I does not go beyond the length, right? So and I is less than length 1, and here it's and j is less than length 2. So I'm using here j for version 2. So this will give me the token, right? Basically the substring which is in between the dots, right? So once I have that, now I can simply do a check, right? If var1 is greater than var2, then I can straight away return 1. Else if var1 is less than var2, then I can return minus 1. At the end we can return, so at the end we can return 0, and here in the loop, right, so I and j, right, it will end at when j is dot, right? So we have to increment I and j as well, right? Otherwise we will be stuck at dot. This won't go ahead, right, if you are not incrementing I and j after that. So here we are incrementing I and j value. So what will happen here if we go through this again, right? For the version 1, right, if let's take this string, right, let me remove this. Let's take this string, right? Version 1 is this, version 2 is the string, right? So at the start, right, it will check if I is less than length 1 or j is less than length 2, and in the first while we are only covering for version 1. So at each string it will check whether it's not a dot, then vr1 equal to vr1 into 10 plus whatever is the char. So first vr1 will be 0, so 0 plus whatever is this character is 0. So here we are doing minus of 0 char, which will give me ASCII value, and if I am adding it to an int, it will convert it into the integer value, right? So that's one way of converting into int, or else you can, in Java you can use integer dot parseInt, or in Python you can directly do an int function, right? So that's the same thing that we are doing here, right? Now by doing this way, even if the string is huge string, right, before the dot, right? So if you have this string, right, even if the string is huge, right, normally in this case it may not be huge, but in the interview, right, if they say that the string is huge and if you split it, that much amount of memory will be utilized, right? So that's where you can optimize your algorithm to not to use split method. Instead of that, you can use this approach, right, where you are not storing this string in memory, and instead of that you are directly going over each and every character of the string and forming the integer, and for each of the subregions, right, of the version number, you form the int value and then you compare the int value. So that's a trick, right, that where you can use O of 1 space. So let's submit this and see whether it works fine. Okay, so this is the expected answer. Okay, I'm getting a string index out of bounds error for range 1. This error is because I am doing the comparison here before checking if I is less than length. So I have to make sure that I check for the length before accessing the character, otherwise we will get that error. So now just submit this again, and let's see whether it works fine. Okay, so this is accepted. And yeah, it's among the, it's 100% of runtime and 0 millisecond. So hope you liked my video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel for future such videos. Thank you all.